came in to say this is one area we would want to address. We also had the issues of fees, where they say you don't pay fees, you can't write exams, and there've been talks about how that can be sorted out and resolved so that students would be able to write exams. And of course, the bursary situation is one of them. And now I have to tackle one that's a Herculean task in front of you, the school fees increase that we're witnessing at the Ignatius Adjuri University of Education. We'll take a very short commercial, but one question I would ask our listener is, now that we are beginning to see increase in fees for government-run tertiary institutions, I told you, Ignatius Adjuri University is not the first. Reports of same in Uniben, the Obafemi-Awolowo University, etc., etc. What then would be the hope of the average Nigerian if education is becoming this expensive, even in public schools? That's a question. Get on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH and share your thoughts with us. You can also do that using the WhatsApp number 0809 030 6416, or you just stick around after the break. Send in your questions and your thoughts, and we'll take the calls when we come back. Stay tuned. info, the morning crossfire. Let's talk. Conversation continues. My name is Ifeemi Andrew, and I have the North National President, Abbey Precious, with me, and his vice, Mila Ibiapu-owuma, with me in the studio. Gentleman and lady, you're welcome once again.
Thank you.
We're going to get back to the conversation, and then we come to the phone lines and take your messages. I asked a very pertinent question before we went on that rather long commercial, where I said, now that we are beginning to see increase in the cost of education, especially for government-run schools. Remember, this is even gradually affecting the unity schools. Of course, you're aware of the situation there. And the government keeps saying we did not increase tuition, but then we have extra fees. And that was something that even students of the Tertiary University hinted, that not just the fees, other things that we had to pay for. So it brings us to ask, what then becomes the alternative for the average Nigerian who might not be able to cough out over 100 and something thousand to pay for fees? If you attend the Tertiary University of Education or any of the other government institutions where we've seen an increase in the price of fees. We'll come to get your responses in a matter of a moment, and I'm sure you would have questions and opinions that you want to share with regards to some of the things that my guests in the studio have said. I'll get back to the president, NOS, Mr. Precious. Before coming to run for office and say you want to be president of NOS and represent Rivers students nationwide, I'm sure you had a plan and a roadmap of things that you would like to achieve, or things that you've seen that you think are not happening in the right way. So how do you intend to, and what are you bringing to the table?
Okay, my name is Abbey Precious.
And you'd have to speak up because you sound really slow and chilled. You have to speak up some more.
My candidacy for the role of the National President of the National University Students National Secretariat is not just all about leadership, but about fostering a deep connection and shared purpose among us all. Together, we will build a brighter future for Rivers State students. First and foremost, collaboration for success. We understand the importance of collaboration and achieving set goals. We will forge an harmonious collaboration among students, stakeholders, educational institutions, and the Rivers State government. Together, we can amplify the voices and needs of our students, ensuring that their dreams and aspirations become the heartbeat of our action.
So the challenges the students face, I'm sure you're a student and you'd be aware of some of those challenges that students face in schools, campuses, hostels across the nation. How do you intend to tackle them? If there are any of those challenges that you have observed, witnessed, experienced, or you've heard, and do you have a way to which you think those issues can be addressed?
I think you're talking about students' welfare in that aspect, right?
Well, you're a student,
yeah.
So there are many issues that students face, and you would know. I was once a student, and I knew in my time some of the things that students face. We had the school fees issues no school fees, no exam policy, for instance, is one that's really been huge. Is that something that you thought about? Is that something that you possibly saw and said, well, if I represent Rivers students in the institutions, this is what I think we can do about that problem? Or any other problem?
Well, a thriving student is a beacon of hope for our future and our dear state. Our students' welfare will be of utmost priority. In collaboration with the Rivers State government, we will strategize and roll out sustainable welfare programs and initiatives that will bring succor to millions of Rivers State students in their various institutions. We will commit to advocate for fair and affordable tuition fees and robust financial aid programs, ensuring that no student is ever hindered by financial constraints.
And Felicia, well, you're the vice, and ladies, for the women and young women in the institutions across the country, Rivers State in particular, are there any particular programs or plans and what you think should be done for young women in our various institutions?
Well, our administration, we're trying to focus on welfare of students and empowerment programs. There are already programs lined up, like skill acquisition programs, PAD, the girl child programs, and other sensitization programs across campuses and even down to secondary schools. So we're going to try to, with the help of my president and the SA, the governor, and other stakeholders in NOS, try to reach out to as much female students as we can, both in the hostels and in their different campuses.
All right. We'll come back to the Ignatius Tertiary University of Education situation and perhaps hear more with regards to the steps you would take to allay the worries or concerns of students from that institution and other institutions across the state where similar issues might be creeping up. But first, let's go to the phone lines and take a few calls and reactions from our listener and perhaps questions that they might have to ask. The numbers to call are 08179230007. Again, 08179230007. You can also call 08179230003. Now, those are the numbers to call to join in on the conversation. You are aware of the situation. And above all, the federal government says it has now, it is going to implement the school fees loan next year. I'm also going to get my guests to react to that. Perhaps it's something that have been thought about, our conversations held around those corners. I'll be taking some messages on Facebook as well and on WhatsApp. The number is 0809 030 6416. That is the WhatsApp number, 0809 030 6416. And we have Prince on the line from Agri Road, is our first caller this morning. Hello, Prince. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Prince, you're welcome. Go ahead.
All right, I'm calling concerning the increment in the school fees of Ignatius and other supplements.
Okay.
You know, right from the time that this acting VC came into power, there has been so many increments and different levies to pay. Especially the one concerning the CBT exam. So students find it very difficult to engage themselves into this exam because of the increment in school fees, as some would not be able to make payment of the school fees. You know, there are some students who have been in the school like 3 years, 4 years, but they couldn't make this payment because the increment was much, especially for those who are making late payments. You see a stage where your normal school fees is 50-something thousand, but when you're making a late payment, it's about 80-something thousand, and you calculate 80-something thousand times 3 years that you've not paid. Even when you cannot meet up at the final year level, you hear the school telling you that if you don't make all your school fee payments, you won't be able to sit for the CBT exam. And that has made so many students to carry over or to have an extra year because they couldn't make that earlier payment. They couldn't make the payment. And this CBT exam has a time that is being received. And when you, as a common man, cannot meet up the deadline of this payment, that simply means automatically you are having an extra year in the university, of which is very unfair. It's very unfair for you to be in school for the past 4 years, and just because of you could not be able to make some payments for you to write the CBT exam.
And the student unions,
you don't have the opportunity to graduate.
The student union from the school, the student unions of the school. Prince, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
I said the student unions for the school, are they aware of this, and has any actions been taken?
Yes,
or is this something students have talked about?
Always aware of anything that is happening. I would say that as a student, we have the right to protest, but whenever we try going into protest, you see some who are coming to agitate with the SCG, and sometimes when doing that agitation, you will see the student union government, they will just feel reluctant and they will just feel as if nothing is happening anymore. I know of how many students who could not sit for this CBT exam, who currently they are having extra year, and if they do not meet up to pay the school fees again next year, they will still have extra year, which is very unfair. It is very unfair. They are simply telling us that the common man can no longer go to school.
All right, Prince, thank you very much. So you're basically saying it's now a situation where people have extra years not because they failed exams, but because maybe they don't have monies to pay for fees to take exams. Muriel in Okrika, good morning.
Thank you, Efemi. Good morning.
Good morning. Go on.
Well, before I start, I want to quickly congratulate your guest in the studio. But just like you said, Efemi, the president is too relaxed. Does he realize that he's like a youth president? He's the president of students, young students, agile and smart students. He's too relaxed. So did he get this position in a platter? So I like the way you ask him to agile up. But Efemi, when you ask him question and he's trying to, it's as if he crammed his campaign strategies and he's just trying to reel them out here. I'm not getting it, Efemi. In fact, it's not entering the way he's presenting it. What will it do? What is it going to do? That now that they are demanding for school fees and loans have not been given, what is it going to do? How is it going to encourage the students to pacify them? And do you know that the cost of things in the market now in the country will affect the cost of food in the schools? How can students be able to feed themselves? The computer and business centers, how can it talk to business centers? How can they reduce cost of printing? And the wholesale fees are so humongous. How can it talk to the administration to reduce cost of staying in the school? Students, when we're in school, we run to the hostel because we know that outside accommodation is very expensive. Why is the school authority increasing school fees up to the point of close to 100,000? It is too much. Children cannot afford it. Therefore, the lady, I congratulate her once again. But how can she talk to take care of the sanity of female students? If you go to female hostels, you see how dirty it is. How can she talk to students? How? Just tell us how. Not I will. How? Do you know that even today it's in the news that a female student was killed by a boyfriend? You cannot stop this mingling with girls and boys in school. But how can she talk to female students? What are the strategies that she will tell them to know themselves? How can you know when a boy is this or that? There are so many things. You need to tell us how, not I will. Thank you, Efemi.
All right, Muriel, thank you very much. I'm sure my guests would respond to some of those. We'll get to them. Just to remind us, 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0003. Stanley says, education in Nigeria is no more for the poor. It's very, very clear because poor Nigerians cannot even afford primary school fees, not to talk of higher education. God help us. Jones Peace says, now to go learn skills be the next thing. Bakel Menegbo John says education in Nigeria is no more for poor. One of my professors said this, Riv Poly, now known as Ken Poly, in 2012-13 academic session, and there was an uproar. Now it has come to pass. Education is not for the poor. God bless Nigeria. Messages on WhatsApp, a few here. This person says, good morning. The truth is that government just want education to elude the poor, period. Scholarship is now the right of the rich in government, unlike before, where the poor get scholarship with their brains. It's unfortunate what is happening. Chima from Omerelu, you sent that message in. And Damzi is in Choba. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, and Damzi, go on.
Please, I want to lend my voice to what the lady said earlier. I want the president to understand that he's actually the leader of students in Rivers State. Just like you encourage him to raise his voice and speak, he should understand that he's talking to people over the radio. So he should be very proactive. He should be more active. And please attend to the questions the previous caller just said.
All right, Ndamzi, thank you. Let's go to Simeon, calling from RSU. Simeon, good morning. Hello, Simeon.
Yes, good morning, Nigerian.
All right, good morning to you. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Simeon, the North National Welfare Director.
Okay.
Firstly, I want to salute the doggedness and the astutness of my amiable president, in person of Comrade Abbey Precious, and the indefatigable vice president rightly there in the studio. Talking about the issue of Ignatius, the increment in school fees, tuition fees, I want to imply that the student union government of the supposed institution and the North arm of the government as well should synergize and ensure that measures that are drastic are taken considerably. And I also want to applaud the movement of the North President there in the studio for taking the bold step, and it was a swift one for that matter. Once again, I want to thank you.
All right, Simeon, before I let you go, just quickly, you say you are the National Welfare Coordinator? Director, okay.
Yes.
And then,
yes.
So it means basically that there would be plans with regards to welfare of students. Am I correct?
Yes, definitely.
What
yes,
are those
definitely.
measures in place, and what are those plans? I'm sure you've been following the show, and you heard one of the caller talk about some certain issues in campuses that should be looked into that would fall around welfare, if you ask me. I don't know whether conversations are being held with management of the school. What exactly is being done on the ground?
Yes. Currently, just within few days ago, which was on Monday, we had our first National Executive Council meeting. And deliberations have been made, and definitely we'll bring to the table. We've already brought to the table, and we'll bring to limelight whatever plans we have. And part of those plans are the student empowerment programs. Those programs will cut across the entire Nigeria and possibly in diaspora as well. Because when we talk about North National, we are not looking at just River State, which are the home schools. We are looking at other schools that cut across the country as well.
So what are those programs exactly?
Are
What are the programs and how are they fashioned out? Is it a skill acquisition program? What exactly is the program, and what exactly is the design on how to carry out that program and implement?
Okay. By the grace of God, we talking about the design and how to carry it out. By the grace of God, we have a national secretariat which was built by the amiable Indian past governor of River State in person of Barrister Yenson Ezewamwike. And by the grace of God, the secretariat has an ICT center, which is a cafeteria, well powered. It also have a cafeteria as well. What we mean is, talking about the empowerment program, we are looking at certain programs that can cut across ICT. It can as well go into catering services and all that. Then we are also looking at some other digital skills that definitely can make use of the facility.
All right,
to
Simeon.
Start up something for River students.
Thank you very much. Let's come to the studio now, my guest. I'll just get Felicia first to respond because one of the callers talked about, some of the issues that I'm sure you listened to. What's the approach towards that?
Well, she mentioned female student sanitation in the hostels. Now, if the North National takes it on their head, because North National is not just in River State. We're here for the welfare of River State students across the globe, even in diaspora. So if we begin to go from campus to campus to sanitize hostels, I think maybe we could be doing that and our tenure will finish. Because by the time you start from River State to down to the FCT and abroad, what we can do is to reach out to the SUG management of each school.
NOS leadership, aren't there NOS leadership across the various institutions at their state levels? There
is, at different state levels. We have chapters. Okay. Yes. So, but they do not have sole rights in the government of their schools. Their SUG leaders do. So it is to get into direct dialogues with the SUG leaders and see how best they can help the students in those various schools. Because at this point, you're indirectly sending us to do the work of NANS, National Association of Nigerian Students, and we are NOS. But what we can help to do in River State schools, River State-owned schools, is to inspect the sanitation level of the different institutions, the hostels, and get into dialogues with because you cannot, they are our elders. The management are people older than us, possibly people that could be our grandfathers or fathers. So we just get into dialogues with them. Now, second thing she mentioned was the news making rounds on social media about the girl that was killed by her boyfriend. This could have happened during holiday periods. Also, it did not happen in the school premises. I'm only going to advise young girls because the world as it is getting darker by the day. I'm only going to advise young students to be careful of where they go to and try to make sure they let one or two persons know where they are going to. Because these days we're not even scared of going out of the house in the night, going to night parties. And I want to remind her that this did not happen in the university environment. So the university management should not in any way be held responsible. She could have been a student coming from the house. She could have been a student living off campus. So that should not be directed to NOS.
Okay, but I think what she was eventually trying to say was whether ladies should be more educated on how to understand the personality of a person you want to hang out with or date, and know whether or not this person is safe or this person is not. But then your point is also very well carried. We don't have a lot of time, so let's go over to the president himself. You heard the responses and the questions asked. What will be your response as we attempt to wrap up?
Okay, the questions asked are still diving down to the increment of school fees by the school management. Like I've said, we will actively collaborate with the River State government and also find a way to liaise with the SN Student Affairs. From there, we move to the state-owned schools in order for the state-owned schools to reduce their school fees and maybe probably find a way to give out flexible school fees payments.
Is a protest something that would be considered or looked at if the school doesn't bulge and it remains this way?
No, as a comrade, there are 3 C's of Aluta. The first is consultation, and we have to consult. That is why I said we have to collaborate and also partner with the state government and the state-owned institutions. We consult them, we approach the management and discuss the issues with them.
All right, then we have to wrap things up here. Thank you very much again for your time to both of you, President and Vice President of NOS.
Thank you very much.
My name is Ifeami Andrew. Hello Port Harcourt comes up next. Jude is already standing by. You can go through the conversation again on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Good morning.
No panicking, no panicking.